The gay characters are pretty much like a given, but that's like tip of the iceberg shit. Anybody could see that much.
Remy, I don't think you're gonna get much drama.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Well, then you could watch Bunny Hop's video. That could be fun.
I guess I could watch it. Let's take a peek.
I want dinner, but I don't want to
You're an
make
asshole. You are an asshole. A straight asshole for that. Earthbound Connection by ass.
Earthbound connection? Oh, you mean ripping off Earthbound and doing it shittily, I might add?
He didn't even rip off Earthbound for Undertale. Lisa, I cannot comment on. I've played some of it. I have not played enough to say it one way or the other. Undertale, I've played through it all. There is no Earthbound in it except for the ending mechanics of one ending which he botched. If you're talking narrative, it would be like the difference between a children's coloring book and a young adult's novel. One is clearly more developed than the other, and it is an insult to try and compare the two.
No, I think the comparison's valid, but only if it's followed up with Undertale fucking blows at whatever it's trying to do compared to what Earthbound accomplished.
It's only comparable in the sense that they both are books written on paper. It ends up being quite different to have a child's coloring book's understanding on a subject and a young adult's version of the subject.
Yeah, the comparison is there.
That's about it. It's barely comprehensible. The big problem as to why, unlike in Earthbound, where it had a massive variety of characters that ended up saying little bits and pieces to you to sell the world that you explore throughout, Undertale has relatively limited characters, most of them in combat, and the way it ends up setting up the world is it's encouraging you to act a particular way as opposed to fighting them. Because fighting in comparison is relatively boring, and it's actually interesting and treated more like an adventure game by the actions you take with the act command as opposed to, fight.
Well, all I can say on Undertale is, damn it, wanted to deliver these monsters the Emperor's peace.
You can actually. You can kill them all.
Yeah, then you're just basically, you're basically selling out to the Xenos this way. You are, in essence, fueling corn with that shit.
Pretty much.
It's like, fuck you, game. Fuck your pretension.
And fuck you for trying to require me to sell my soul after the genocide route.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, fuck you, game.
Keep in mind, that's after 10 minutes of real time just sitting there listening to Wind Howl.
Yeah, Toby Fox is just a faggot anyway.
It's one of the most comparative game I would actually compare it to, as opposed to Earthbound. ILB. L-B. That's the English translation of a different title.
You mean that fucking game where we get the Vomit Chan meme and all that other shit?
Sort of. It's more like the little, the little girl that ends up going to a painting? It's that one.
Kinda.
She ends up having a guy that she treats as like an older brother, and then there's like a little girl that ends up guiding her throughout. It's a horror game. It has that kind of vibe. It's an RPG Maker game. It has a really solid world for what it is. Mechanics are okay. But the feel of it, that's the closest feel I've got of Undertale.
Either way, Undertale is just
Oh,
garbage.
and for reference, the game does that feel better for free. I don't care how many people polish that particular turd. I don't care how many people end up praising it to the high heavens. It has been outdone by a free game, at least as far as the feel is concerned.
Yep,
as far as gaming mechanics are concerned, it has been topped by a game that was made in the 90s called Moon, an RPG remix adventure.
Yep, and all I can really say is Undertale will simply fuel more social justice warrior faggots. And there are people who are like, oh, Toby Fox ain't gonna confirm or deny anything that makes him better. I'm like, fuck you. Fucker should have said, fuck all you people for making this goddamn comparison if he really didn't want Undertale to be compared that way.
It's not the Citizen Kane of games, and any faggots that end up trying to push that need to go out back and get their asses kicked. I'll fight you 1v1 IRL. Dead serious. It's not even a blockbuster tier shit. It's not even a Transformers 2.
Man, all I can say is this. It's going
It
to
is
be the
the
way
war
the
and peace of
next
video
generation interfaces with Earthbound, and they're not gonna fucking get Earthbound when they go and try to play
Yeah.
it.
But
That
then
just
again, that's
depresses
the
me.
difference between an actual adult writing it and a guy that's lived a long and healthy life and a kid that ends up dealing with a bunch of social justice warriors, which is where he drew his inspiration from.
Yeah, seeing as how Toby Fox did fucking Homestuck, if I'm not mistaken.
The music for it, some of the music. He
You know, it's
used
a
a
case.
particular song called Megalovania, which is in the Homestuck soundtrack, as well as his Earthbound mod, as well as Undertale. Do you want me to specify as to one of the most disgusting mechanics? It is encouraging you to act rather than fight on things that are actively trying to kill you. And yet it's asking you to forgive and show mercy to things that are actively trying to brutalize you, hurt you, kill you.
Or
From the
to show,
lowliest monster to the final boss.
or to show kindness to people that are actually horrible people.
Yes.
As I'll keep on saying to everyone who's like, my actions matter in this game, Fallout 1 and Wasteland did this shit much better in that front than any of this pretentious garbage.
By
Yeah, but it
orders
doesn't
of
have
magnitude.
monsters and diversity and social justice. A happy words.
Actually, it did have a little bit of diversity. Like, say, Fallout 2. You
Uh-huh.
actually were able to have the gay marriage. It was funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
but in that game you could also be the gimp to a super mutant, so
That's true. It was fun. It was actually diverse and hilarious.
it's like buff out that shit because I ain't no super mutant gimp. Plus I needed the caps.
Damn straight. That's the thing. A lot of these things that they cite as new and original and also good, it's like, this is old hat. A lot of you fucking hacks that claim that, oh, this is all new. No, it's not. You guys have missed the boat by a decade at minimum, and usually on par with 2.
Yeah.
So whenever you motherfuckers tell me how I'm just such a newbie to the game or how this has only been a new thing, get the fuck out of here. Some of those things that you've been bitching about have been around since the 80s. Hell, you same faggots are the same ones that ended up encouraging women to get out of tech back in the day, and you won't ever admit it anyways. That bad reporting is what scares women out of tech. It ain't the fucking supposed harassers.
But yeah, it's like, my god, much of this shit about but choices matter. Wasteland was doing that shit back in the floppy disk days. Get the fuck off the boat, faggot.
Pretty much. It's like, come on. If you wanted choice matters and all that shit, why don't you just stick an old ass adventure game? Why don't you just stick with the fucking Lone Wolf series? It didn't even take a fucking game in order to have that. You had a goddamn game book that you ended up having a series on. Over 20 books, by the way. That was done in the 80s.
Wait, Lone Wolf? What
The
was
Lone
that?
Wolf series. It's a game book series which involved the acquisition of specific powers, items that you brought with you, as well as reading a lot of story in order to make the necessary choices, like little scenarios. You resolve combat if needed, and you survive, you keep going forward, and that sort of stuff. It's quite fun.
Wait, you mean it's a series of game books, like an RPG book, or...
Yeah, it's effective. It's not like an RPG system book. It's literally a game book.
You mean like one of those old choose-your-own-adventure games?
It's beyond that. It requires stat management, inventory management.
Ah,
Wait,
so
which one is
basically-
this? Are those
The Lone
available
Wolf
for free
series.
online?
Yes,
Yeah,
those
they're
are the
available for
ones
free
from
online now.
Project Down. So whenever I hear a bunch of retards that end up trying to claim that all this stuff is oh so difficult or it was so hard, this stuff was done in the fucking 80s. Get the fuck out of here.
Really, what concerns me is that Undertale will become one of the pillars of the modern era, and then the fucking race to the bottom continues.
The joke is, if they try to actually use that as an example of something good, there's so many other examples, even locally,
Hey,
around
Fuzzy.
then, that you could
Hey.
use to mock them.
Just wait, there'll be so many ripoffs of this game. You already can see them with that Suits RPG thing.
Yep.
What RPG thing?
It's a game that's like you play as a business worker and I'll get you a link. Give me a sec.
Wait, Suits? You mean that thing I saw wafting into my feed that's supposedly an RPG about my corporate
Yeah.
America?
So let's
Yep.
see, over 30 just on Lone Wolf, let alone the other books. So yeah,
So in other words, there are games that are better than Depression Quest that were actually books.
yes, and that is why I mock anyone that tries to call Depression Quest a game.
Because there
Whenever
were
you
books
have
that were
more
actually games.
interactivity with a motherfucking book that's a game, then guess what? You're shitting a game. It's a story, a book.
Not a particularly good one that can't even do the bare minimum of spell check.
Yep,
So do JRPGs fall into that category?
JRPGs are games.
Barely. Have you seen how many cutscenes those things tend to have? My God.
That's a more recent invention.
Yeah,
And
and
some of
one
them are
that
utter
seems-
trash with cutscenes. Yes, I agree. But it doesn't change the
some of
fact that
them-
they're still games. They're
Some of
usually
them are
stat
pretty good.
management games involving the party resources. Depending on what gameplay style, I would end up turning it towards tactical RPGs, party-based RPGs, or sometimes strategy RPGs.
So I just have one quick question. Why are we
Usually
streaming
technical.
this? I've been kind of away
Where
for
would
a
you
little
put-
bit now.
They
Where
were
would you
trying to get
put-
me to sprig out over Undertale, and I was pointing
where
out
would
to a
you
lot of
put
other stuff.
We haven't
where
watched the
would-
video yet.
Oh, so we're streaming just in case you spurge out.
Fine,
What?
fuck you, I'm watching it.
Oh my.
You
Where
better have
would
good
you
reason.
put the fucking more recent Persona games then?
Okay, I'll give you a good reason. This is the one guy in video games who actually has a journalistic degree.
Does that
Oh.
matter in the slightest?
In this case, yeah. Well,
No.
Fuck you.
It's
And demonstrating a lack of understanding of Earthbound.
sure, but I don't
goes
think
to
anyone's gonna
Super
go and
Bunny
type in my
Hop.
entire URL.
About all I got out of Earthbound was that it was the story of the loss of innocence and growing up.
This
That they need
stupid
to-
motherfucker.
You're just
It's
now
all about
figuring-
subverting expectations. No, it's not. It was meant to be a modern RPG. Not
Yep.
realistic, really cartoony, but it was set in modern day. And it was effectively a remake of the first Mother. Not entirely, though. It ended up having a slightly adjusted story, but the story was pretty much similar to the first one. It was basically what the first one wished it could have been. But he's currently describing the feel of Earthbound and whatnot. It's like, okay, you discovered the feel of Earthbound. All right. So, he defines Earthbound as charmingly bad jokes, stiff animations, and a bittersweet outlook on life.
I haven't really played Earthbound, and I can already tell you that's fucking bullshit.
Oh shit, I'm just starting to do the heavy sigh thing.
The bittersweet, he is conflating the entire Mother series with Earthbound. The bittersweet shit was in 3. 2 had only a little bit of the really rough stuff. And you know what that rough stuff was from? That was the very ending. That's whenever it got heavy. And they ended up getting shit done. And then it became lighthearted again. But the vast majority of it was relatively light. So trying to
Oh.
call it a bittersweet outlook on life is head-scratch worthy.
Bittersweet. I've always figured it was more a case of the transition from childhood to adulthood, but, you know, what do I know?
And yes, that would be correct. It would be a case of a coming-of-age story. But this guy, of course, doesn't know that.
I'm
But this
sorry.
one's a little more egregious than most. Stiff animations, though, I would agree with. It is very stiff animations. But if you're trying to use that as a feel thing, there are so many fucking games that use stiff animation. It is not very effective. It is a waste of time.
My good grief. There's such a
Charmingly
thing
bad
as an
jokes. You know how many fucking games use jokes and puns and whatnot? Because that's the way the localizers work. They had to work with what they had. So they ended up using their own brand of humor.
Yeah, this is where we get the term woollyism, I think it's called.
Yeah, here's the Woolseyism. But anyways, the problem with localization and why localization is actually needed, the big one that usually screws people up is comedy. Comedy does not translate well, and a lot of Earthbound had pun-based comedy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't seem to get that when you translate from something like Japanese into English, a lot of nuance to the fucking language can get lost if you're not careful.
Pretty much. So whenever you're saying, oh, it's charmingly bad jokes, the thing is, you might not think it's funny to you, but some of those are actually pretty damn funny to me.
But he don't care because he's feels. And oh great, I look over at who's playing something on my Steam and fucking Undertale pops up.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
But one thing to keep in mind as far as Earthbound was concerned, unlike 3, which actually was bittersweet the way he describes, and unlike 1, which had a relatively linear path, 2 was not bittersweet, and especially for the ending sequence. If you get nothing else, get a freaking save file with the game beaten, and then run through the ending sequence. That is a memorable experience. I'm not kidding you. Even if you don't play all the rest of it.
I get the feeling I'd have to anyway, because why have
You really
that?
should, but as I said, the ending sequence is the best ending sequence for a game that I've had, and that's saying something. Because almost all of it is quite interactive. Anyways, continuing on, I'm only 2 minutes into this whenever he's trying to tie the rest of it in.
Has it gotten worse?
Yes, I don't know enough about Lisa, but now they're talking Undertale. Oh, this ought to be good. He segues into Undertale now. And it looks like he's going to be spending about 3 minutes to it.
Or me
And
when
And
he
he's
gets-
immediately opening up with one of the best games of the year. God damn it. Already face palmed.
As you should, anyone who's anything but this is overrated garbage.
I wouldn't call it garbage, but it is not Game of the Year material. Not even close.
I don't know, man. It might be Game of the Year material, but only in the context of 2015 being such utter dog shit.
He's basically shilling it and say, go play it, buy it, without having people talent, of course. And you know what's funny? I've actually played Robot Alchemic Drive. I beat it. It was fun. But he's using that to shill for Undertale. Fuck you. Fuck you hard. He's bitching about Robot Alchemic Drive. That was actually a fun game. Okay, I was about to say. Wait, never mind. That was pretty cool. God damn it. He's basically spent over a minute just shilling the fucking game before even talking about it. Now I'm beginning to get mad. It's like, come on. He's using the first comparison point to Earthbound is it's a little kid in a striped shirt. Can I
Same
throttle him now?
game. Clearly.
Scrappy Doo's sidekicks that speak in a crazy font. Kill. By the way, said Scrappy Doo's sidekicks that speak in a crazy font are the skeletons who speak in multiple different fonts and do not have a village, when she was trying to make that comparison with Tem Village, which itself does not have different fonts, just screwball way of speaking. So that comparison already goes out the water. Continuing.
All I'll note is that Toby Fox has claimed his biggest inspiration for Undertale was Earthbound.
It's
and
feel-good
shit.
fare for Fourthbound Shattering Nightmare Fuel. Right.
Perfect
Engine for
music.
subverting RPG cliches, because, you know, it hasn't been done before. It's not even a fucking RPG, you piece of shit. It's an adventure game. You keep trying to call this shit an RPG. It's not a fucking RPG. You know why it's not an RPG? Because there's no vet grinding, there's very limited inventory management, and it's more akin to adventure game mechanics than RPG mechanics. That's why
don't
you waste your
even
goddamn
play
time
a
with that.
Fucking roll like you wouldn't say something like Fallout shit.
Nah, you do play a role. You play a fucking AMFCAB, generic protagonist.
No. If we're
No,
gonna
no,
pull
no.
the you
But
play a
let me stop
role
you
than
before you
every
respond.
game.
Before you respond, that particular bit is more commonly used in adventure games than RPGs.
No, what I'm saying is every video game has you play a role. I wouldn't call every video game an RPG.
And I would
Well-
agree. But continuing on, I'm at 5:30. I'm going to try and power through this. This is fuck you couch level now. He does accurately state that the entire point of the act system is more fun than actually beating the crap out of him, which was an intentional design decision. Yep, entire subplots that can be resolved in battle. Gee, that's never been done before.
No.
He said using this as a talking point to play up Undertale, by the way.
Yeah, it's not like I can't just shoot the fuck out of most of the mob bosses in fucking Fallout or anything. And
Oh,
Or
man,
it's not
such-
like
such
there weren't
technology.
multiple ways to deal with all the fucking bosses in Metal Gear Solid 2 already.
From
Pausing for a moment. Sitso 1. Continuing. This has pretty much been shilling for Undertale, and it really sucks so far. Yeah, he's basically saying you shouldn't have been looking even at the store page. You should have just gone into it blind. Yada yada. Go fuck yourself. Critical of their audience is common nowadays. Yeah, like I really want that particular bit. Gee, I want a game that insults me. He's praising that as a...
Like I want a game that insults my fucking intelligence.
I'm not talking about insults
Oh, there it
intelligence.
goes.
Oh, how's Undertale insult us? Cause I fucking stopped playing after
To
fucking...
justify the game, you're criticizing your violence, right? Okay, you want to bitch and moan about violence and whatnot? Okay. You want an easy message for that? That's already done it better. Ultima 4: Quest of the Avatar. You are able to kill every motherfucker in a village by using a special item, but you know what happens? You lose all your freaking virtues, and you have to regain them back bit by bit. So
Lord
yeah,
British ain't taking any of your shit.
exactly. You can have all the fun you want killing everyone in the village, but you end up paying for it. There's your real consequence.
Yeah, and it's not like Fallout also didn't have fucking consequences for your actions like
Nah,
that
it just had
either.
a karma system.
Yeah, and
no,
you could be a
fuck
slaver.
you. You're not. Fallout 3 does not exist in this conversation. I'm referring solely to 2 and 1. Okay.
The criticism doesn't feel forced because you're... Are you fucking kidding me? You're being criticized on all 3 routes.
Yeah, and unlike motherfucking KOTOR 2, there is no grand point to any of it.
Well, there is, but not in a
It's
way that
stupid.
either of us agree. It fucking promotes nihilism, and it's like, ugh. Yeah, he's talking about the pacifist run that's running away or sneaking around enemies because it's easier. In other words, encouraging casualization, subverting the need to kill enemies, which was done in the fucking 90s. Moon and RPG Remakes Adventure did it 10 times better, with better music, better
Burning the
graphics,
need to kill enemies. There's always the fucking pacifist runs in the Thieves
which he called
series.
boring. He just called out, by the way.
Fuck you, Bunny Hop. You don't play fucking video games at all.
He actually said pacifism is more difficult than the other routes. Are you fucking kidding me? If you want the truth, the hardest route is genocide, by far. And I don't mean because of the emotional toll or any of that, but because of the deliberate design decisions designed to make it as unfun as possible. That's why it's tough. The only fun parts in it were the difficulty spikes, which were the boss battles. Other than that, it was deliberately designed to make it a slog. The funniest writing. Are you fucking kidding me? That writing was dog shit. The characters were really shallow.
Like fucking
The
Fallout
music is
2.
good, I'll give him that. But
But the dude's a musician. That's like a bare minimum.
charming and confident passages in years.
Like,
Maybe
doesn't know
if
what
you've
it
never
wants to
played
be.
this before. Exactly.
It's
I
like
think
you have a
deep down
timing
Templar
minigame
wants
for
to be a bitch.
attacking, then you have like this menu stuff where you
If
could
it
never
had
be able
come
to
out,
predict
this
what's
was
going to happen intuitively.
I'll be honest. If this guy was right near next to me, or the guy that's saying this video, I would have smacked him upside the head on this one before he got to finish his sentence. If this one came out in 1995, it would have been one of the most influential. Pop! Get the fuck
Nope.
out.
It would be It would be less popular than Sword of the Stars.
I wouldn't say it'd be less popular. I would say it would be comparable. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Remember
played
Sword
that
of
one,
the
by the
Stars?
way, and had more fun with that than this game.
And it was
Wait,
reviled as one of
Sword
the
of the
worst RPGs on the
Stars?
SNES.
You know what shitty RPG Maker games? Before RPG Maker was really a thing, there was Sword of the Stars, which is the epitome to me of an RPG Maker game.
It's a very shitty SNES RPG, but you know.
You
Yeah,
are
see,
Calls it
Yes,
an
yeah.
RPG again whenever it's not a motherfucking RPG. I don't care how many times you little fuckers shill for it. It's not going to be an RPG. It's never going to be an RPG. It's an adventure game. Get it through your thick skulls. It might be an okay adventure game, but as an RPG, it's utter shit. God damn, this is straight up narrative spinning. It's disgusting.
Go for it, Thidran. Yeah, read it all.
Yeah.
Read
One
all
of
of the
best,
narrative spinning.
one of the
Come on.
best
The
games
highs
released
and
in
lows.
2015.
Of a kid humor. What the hell? You're wasting my time with this shit. I've already played through all 3 routes. I did it blind. I have obviously had a different experience. I don't see any connection with Earthbound other than that one particular bit. Because even if you're talking about the feels of it and the references to Earthbound, they weren't really much of a reference to Earthbound. Because that shit is generic as hell. It is designed to be a modern RPG. Undertale is not designed to be a modern RPG. It's a fantasy game. And if
Not
he
a
can't
good
figure that
one.
bit out, then maybe he should have his own head examined. One that wouldn't work if it followed convention and played it safe. The only reason it's working at all is because a bunch of retards like you are shilling the fuck out of it. I'm going to be blunt with you. The only reason you've gotten as far as you did is just how much everyone's been shilling the fuck out of it. And I've had to hear at least 20 motherfuckers separately telling me to play this game. And I ended up giving it a try. And I'm going to tell you flat out. You trying to push me to play this fucking game is actually going to turn it away. It's a lot like those little idiots that ended up pushing Homosuck over and over and over and over again. And by the way, I actually looked at a little bit of it. But over time, I got bored of it because people kept pushing me to read it. And not only that, the quality of it went to pot after like a couple hundred pages. And I'm like, I don't feel like this shit. So, continuing on. Yeah,
Wish I
one
had
thing I
real-life
will
friends.
agree with this guy
User
on.
entered
He
your
has said
channel.
openly, Earthbound or Undertale
Oh,
is
shit.
subversion. I'll give him that. He's actually trying to say it's paying homage to Earthbound with battle systems that have nothing to do
What?
with Earthbound. The only area that actually has some bearing to do with the Mother series in general, and not Earthbound, you dumb motherfucker, is Mother 3. So it's clear that this guy came late to the fucking party and pretty much was playing Mother 3 and thinks all 3 of the Mother series acts like that. Because that's what I'm getting from his it retarded narrative. And I noticed that most of his footage was from Mother 3 and not 2.
Yep,
Dumb
and not even
fuck.
from Mother 1.
None from Mother 1. But then again, I can somewhat excuse him on that particular aspect because Mother 1 and Number 2 are quite similar in terms of story and feel. The main difference is one of them ended up having a lot more graphical capability and thus ability to expand far beyond what Number 1 was able to. It was basically what Number 1 wishes it could have been.
They both were playing though.
They're both worth playing in order to get the little bits of story as to why the final boss became what they did. Because it is a sequel. Unlike 3, which is not a sequel to either of the 2. Oh. Okay, now I'm mad.
Oh, now you're mad. Right, okay.
He just said it exceeds Earthbound.
Vodka
Fuck
instead of full
you
throttle.
and the horse you rode in on. That's all I have to say to that. And if you think that any of those aspects that exceed Earthbound, not even in music, it does not compete even in music, then you can go fuck yourself because you clearly have not played 2. You clearly have not played 1. You've only played 3, which was not as good as 2 or 1. And I'm going to be blunt with you. Any motherfuckers that try to play that shit and say, oh, it's comparable to Earthbound, like I already said before, is a goddamn idiot.
It's only comparable in the sense of it's watered down crap.
Oh, hey, I had no idea how to do this in 1985. Oh, wait, you haven't really looked at the 80s, did you, faggot? Goddamn retard. You didn't know about all the humor games that were done in Japan. Some of them was really shit game. Don't know about Kusoge.
Like, you don't even need to be aware of fucking Japanese games. I mean, with goodoldgames.com, you can find all these fucking old games that did pretty much everything Earthbound and all these other crap all the games we're getting shoved on today. Done back in the fucking mid to late 80s. And
That's the
Because
funny part.
Yeah,
Wait, they what? They actually tried to compare it to Ocarina of Time?
kill me. Kill me. Kill
you know
my
me.
why? You know
God,
why
not
they
again.
compared? Because it's quirky.
No, it's not quirky. It's stupid. I wanted all those characters to be given the Emperor's peace.
Death by Emperor Cock.
That's
no, death
God
by purge.
damn moron.
Purging through the Emperor's grace.
There hasn't been games like this. That was his final bit. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's clear that you have no idea what you're talking about, and you just embarrassed yourself on that one. Which game better? Yeah, that one was funny. You know what I did with that one? I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I did? I voted Undertale for the lulz, simply to trigger them.
I did too.
I did so many votes for it.
Oh, you're talking about that?
Yeah, the
The
game
game
facts
facts
poll.
one, because I knew that they would get so mad.
I'll admit I did too because I thought it'd be funny.
You have no idea how much
Did we all vote for
would
Undertale
lose.
just for the lulz?
I
think
didn't.
so.
Oh my god.
That I actually did, but as
Oh my
far
God.
as it actually being a no, it's not. It's not a game of the year or anything like that. And you know what happened? Pretty much completely demolished fucking game facts. So many goddamn games lost all their shit because of mods saying "fuck you, I'm out of here." That was so lulzy. But yeah, Super Bunny Hop trying to play that the usual shield talking points. Compare it to Earthbound. Claim that it exceeds Earthbound. Polish the turd. Say that's Game of the Year material. Try to claim that it is the Citizen Kane of games. You'll note that with every other reviewer on this. That's how you can tell if it's a fucking bot review. Because you'll notice a particular narrative. They'll have specific talking points they want the reviewer to have, and they'll say it in their own wording, but you'll note that they all have the same talking points.
Gee, I wonder why.
Alright, that's pretty much it for me.
Thanks for that, Thidran.
No problem. But also, fuck you for making me watch that video. Go fuck yourself. Seriously, that guy did not know what the fuck he was talking about when he was trying to talk about Earthbound. It was frustrating.
You should see his Crypto the Necrodancer video. That one's awful.
Don't even get me. I'm going to state it plain. Crypto the Necrodancer's gameplay mechanics are actually pretty fucking solid.
Yeah, I've
I'll give him
looked at
that.
it. It actually looks like
Yeah,
fun.
but it's
That's something I pay
Rami
for.
Ishmael, and I have no intention of.
It
It's
is?
not Remy Ishmael. I can promise you that. It's not Remy Ishmael.
Wait, what?
That's a different issue. It's a different issue. It's not Remy. It's not Flying Bear. Had a different conflict of interest. Silverstring. Specifically, one of the writers for Silverstring decided to write for that particular game, and they ended up getting shilled heavily onto the IGF. It's definitely infested with corruption, but that does not change that the game itself is all right.
Honestly, the mechanics were good, but that's one of the shallowest roguelikes I've ever played.
It's
Like,
not a
even
roguelike, it's a rhythm game. You see what I mean? People are trying to
Yeah.
market shit as other stuff than what it is in a bait and switch. As a rhythm game, it's good.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Trying to market it as a fucking roguelike is retarded. The only problem with the rhythm game is because it is so short and there's so few tracks. It needs more tracks. But because of the way it ends up setting up all the attacks and the simplistic music works for it. But if you try to market it as a roguelike, you're an idiot. If you try to market it as a pure rhythm game, you're also an idiot. You market it as a rhythm game that has roguelike elements or procedurally generated dungeons, works better. But then again, most of these faggots don't know marketing anyways. Alright, off I go.